I was raised in an Orthodox Jewish household, and I wouldn't say so much it's informed my views, but it's informed my interests. So I think as a child I was often very baffled by knowledge claims. Everybody seemed to know all sorts of things about the world, and I wondered how they could know this. And I suppose sometimes I would ask them, and I never felt particularly satisfied with the questions. And so sometime very early on, I found myself to this book by, it was called The Story of Philosophy by Durant. And, I remember it was all we were allowed to do on the Sabbath was to read. And, I would go, and we were quite impoverished, so we didn't own books, but every Friday I would go and get my reading material before the Sabbath, before sundown, so I could have my reading material. And, somehow I found my way to this book, and I remember experiencing something like ecstasy when I read the section on Plato. And it was, this first introduction to rigorous thinking through argumentation, and it felt, it just felt like water after you're dying of thirst. And so I think in that way, my religious upbringing played into my passion for rigorous thinking. Well, there's one I identify with very strongly, and there's one that I love, and they're two different people. The one I identify very strongly with is the main character. The book is written in the third person. It's not always from the main character's point of view. I sometimes leave it, but it's mostly from his point of view. And his name is Cass Seltzer, and he's a psychologist of religion. And because of what's happened recently in America, he finds himself an intellectual celebrity. He's been fascinated with the psychology of religion for decades, but suddenly, here it is. Things have shifted, and there's a confluence between his own obsessions and the obsessions of our particular moment in time, and he becomes a celebrity after he publishes a book called The Varieties of Religious Illusion, a kind of nod to William James, whom he much admires, as do I, and Freud, the future of an illusion. So Cass Seltzer becomes this famous atheist, but he's rather different from the atheists, the professional atheists that I know and admire, friends of mine all. He understands religion from the inside, and he himself is much given, as am I should perhaps or not confess, to a kind of spiritual experience, which is this kind of, a wonder, an ontological wonder, just the sheer wonder at this world that draws you out of yourself in a very dramatic way, and often ends with your feeling very grateful to existence for simply existing. Now, it's a kind of religious experience. Now he, as do I, resists taking the next step. It's like it's just wonder at existence, gratitude for existence as it exists. It's a very Spinozistic emotion, and the spirit of Spinoza hovers over this book strongly. So that's Cass Seltzer, and yes, he's a man. He becomes, in Time magazine dubs him the atheist with a soul. And and he finds that slightly absurd, as do I. But he is soulful, and what I mean by soulful is capable of ontological wonder. So he's the character I most identify with.